What is going on, guys? So today we're going to talk about the 12-volt soft wash pump, some of the issues that you can run into, some of the problems that you might find out in the field, and some of the reasons why these things fail. We're going to talk about some of the symptoms as well as some of the simple fixes to eliminate the biggest issues that I've run into. But most importantly, we're going to show you at the end how to fix the problem for good. But before we get into that, if you've got any questions about how to mix the chemicals for pressure washing or soft washing, or you're not exactly sure of what percentages to use or the best methods and techniques to clean different surfaces that you're going to see on a residential job, then check out the first link in the description below to see our course called How to Wash, the complete guide to pressure washing and soft washing. Cody, Aaron, Justin, and myself put this thing together, and it covers everything that you need to know if you're just starting out or you want to get better in your own business. So the first thing about soft wash pumps that can go wrong is air leaks. If you've got an air leak, you're going to lose pressure. There's going to be pulsating. There's going to be sputtering. There's going to be spitting. And so when I troubleshoot, I start at the beginning and I work my way back. And this way you're not jumping all over the place. So always start at the pump. Check all of your connections. Make sure your hose clamps are tight. Make sure that you have the right hose size for not only your machine, but for your fittings. An undersized fitting with a larger hose has the potential to cause air leaks and also some other problems. So the fittings that we use on the pump, they're polypropylene. So are our guns, they're plastic, the polypropylene, and they can crack. If you over tighten it, they can crack. Even a small hairline fracture in any of these fittings can allow air into your system, which is going to cause an air leak and going to cause you problems. Sometimes they're hard to spot, but it's just like finding a hole in your tire. Get a spray bottle, put a little Dawn in there, shake it up, and go around and spray all of your connections on your unit and look for the bubbles that might appear, because that's going to help identify your air leak. The other thing that you can do to find air leaks, to eliminate components in your system until the problem is gone. So bypass the proportioner. This is usually one of the main reasons you have an air leak. Lots of connections, lots of possibilities to let air into your system. So the last one we're going to cover is make sure that you got water in your tank, bleach in your tank, soap in your tank. If you're using a proportioner and one of these tanks runs out and your valve is open, you're going to be sucking in a ton of air, and that's what's going to happen. It happened to us the other day. We ran out of some Southern Drawl. The valve was on, sucking nothing but air, and we lost all pressure. And it took me a while to figure it out. So, hey, also check out the resource page. Tons of great training, tons of great marketing. There's some freebies. There's a link down below for that too. And don't forget that all training and marketing materials are tax deductible for your business. All right, so another problem that I see in here quite a bit about is when a pump continually blows fuses. Now, there are several reasons for this, so understanding what a fuse does and why they blow is a good start. Fuses are there to protect your equipment. The fuse breaks a circuit if something causes too much current to flow. This protects the wiring and the pump if something goes wrong. The fuse contains a piece of wire that melts faster than the wiring, so it fails first. If the current going through the fuse is too much, too great, the wire heats up until it melts and breaks the circuit, which protects everything. You don't want fires, you don't want blowing equipment up. So, just like finding an air leak, eliminating the components to isolate the problem is a great place to start. I would start by hooking the leads from your pump directly to the battery. If it works and no fuse blows, you know it's not the pump. Then you work your way back just like you do when we're looking for an air leak. One of the main culprits is a bad switch. Bypass the switch, completely remove it from the equation, and if everything works properly without blowing any fuses, the switch is your problem. If neither of those things work, the next thing I would suggest is examining every inch of your wiring harness, making sure that all your connections are tight, there's no corrosion, that there's no exposed wires anywhere, and there's no kinks. Any exposed wire or any kind of kink can cause problems like grounding out and other issues. Another thing that can cause a problem is restricted flow, like the wrong size hose, the wrong size tips, because any excessive strain that you put on the pump, there's a possibility of blowing a fuse because you're increasing the flow of electricity. Also, make sure that you know what the specs of your pump are, how many amps it pulls, and then make sure that your fuse is rated correctly. Also remember that your pump, when it first starts up, it pulls more amps because it's trying to turn that motor over. And say it says it's 23, it's pulling 23 on your specs, and you're using a 25 fuse, it's not enough wiggle room. So bump it up to like a 30 amp, gives you a little bit more play at startup. But you don't want to go too high. Another thing could be a bad battery. So you can take that down to any auto parts store and they can run a test for you at no charge. So those are just a few of the simple and main things that can go wrong with the wiring, which can cause your fuses to blow. That's also a reason why you always want to have an inline fuse, which is to protect your equipment. So the last thing that can go wrong with a pump is the pump. They're cheap, right? In the grand scope of things, most of these pumps that we use, the 12-volt pumps, are under 200 bucks, and you need to remember that because these are consumables. They will go bad, they will fail, and always have a backup. Think about how much money you've made with that pump. I'm hoping that it is a significant amount before it goes bad. A pump is obviously more expensive than an O-ring, but do you ever complain when you have to replace an O-ring? No, because it's a consumable. So the biggest question is, what is your time worth? What's your hourly rate? And more importantly, how much downtime are you willing to take to troubleshoot a $150 5.5 gallon per minute pump? So my guys, I tell them to spend about 10 to 15 minutes before we pop off the zip ties and put on a new pump. And that's why we have zip ties, because I want this to be a quick, fast change. And that's why we always have a backup pump. So it's a consumable, understand that, and I think you're gonna be good to go. And I hope the troubleshooting tips helped. Obviously, if you can identify something quickly, get it fixed and get back to work, that's great. If not, pop on a new pump, get back to work, keep making that money. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope this helped. Don't forget to check out the resource page with all of our stuff. Also check out the How to Wash course. Anyway, I hope that you guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you later. See ya.